In this video, we're going to talk about how to draw the proton NMR spectrum of an organic molecule. So let's say we have ethyl bromide as an example. So given this molecule, how can we draw the proton NMR spectrum for it? Well, the first thing we need to do is identify the number of signals that we have. So even though there's 5 hydrogen atoms in this molecule, there's only 2 different types of hydrogen atoms. These 3 hydrogen atoms will show up as one signal, which we'll call signal A, and these 2, they're identical to each other but different from those 3 protons, and so we're going to call it signal B. So we have 2 signals for this molecule. Now, if you want to, you can organize the information all in a table. So in the first column, I'm going to put the different types of protons, proton A and proton B. Now, in the second column, we're going to talk about the chemical shift. Now, you can find these values in your textbook. Now, for a CH2 that's attached directly to a bromine atom, the protons on it will have a chemical shift somewhere between 3 and 4. So let's pick a nice round number, let's say 3.5. Now, a methyl group typically has a chemical shift of around 1. However, it's not too far away from this electron withdrawing group. So it's going to be a little more downfield compared to 1. It might be 1.5 or 1.6. So we'll go with 1.6. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is the splitting pattern. Are we going to get a singlet, doublet, triplet, and so forth? So the way we're going to determine this is using the n+1 rule. So let's analyze proton A. So what we need to do is look at the number of adjacent protons on this carbon. So we have 2 protons on this carbon. Using the n+1 rule, it's going to be 2 plus 1. So we're going to get a splitting pattern of 3, which corresponds to a triplet. Now a triplet looks like this. It has an intensity ratio of 1 to 1. You could also draw it this way if you want to, but I prefer the stick method. Now let's move on to the next one, proton B. So to analyze the splitting pattern for protons B, we need to look at the adjacent carbon, which has 3 hydrogen atoms. So using the n+1 rule, 3 plus 1 is 4. So the signal that corresponds to proton B is going to appear as a quartet. Now, a quartet will look like this. The intensity ratio is 1, 3, 3, 1. Now, for those of you who may have difficulty remembering the intensity ratios, you could use Pascal's triangle to help you remember it. So with Pascal's triangle, you're always going to have a 1 at the edge of the triangle on both sides, the left side and the right side. And then add up the middle numbers. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 4 is 5. 4 plus 6 is 10. And so forth. So the first level corresponds to a singlet. The second level is a doublet. So a doublet will have 2 peaks with approximately the same intensity ratio. A triplet will have a ratio of 1 to 1. A quartet, 1, 3, 3, 1. This is the quintet. And this is a sextet. The next one will be a septet. So keep that in mind. The last thing we need to talk about is the integration, which technically represents the area under the curve. But a signal with a high integration is usually going to be the taller peak. So in this case, signal A has 3 protons, so we're going to say that the integration is 3H. Signal B has 2 protons, so it's 2H. So what this means is that 3 is 1.5 times more than 2. So the signal that corresponds to A is going to have the area under the curve of that signal is going to be 1.5 times greater than this one. Now, when drawing the NMR spectrum for a molecule, you really don't have to worry about the area under the curve. What you do need to keep in mind is this. A signal with more protons usually will be the taller peak in the graph. So signal A, we're just going to make it a little bit taller than signal B, and that will suffice. So now let's draw a picture of our graph. So we're going to start with a chemical shift of 0, and we're going to go up to 4. Now at 0, we have the TMS signal. And at 1.6, we have signal A, which is a triplet. So we're going to draw it like this. If you want to, you can draw that way as well. Now at 3.5, we have a quartet. So I'm going to make it a little bit shorter than the other one. So it looks like that. Or you can show it like this if you want to. And so that's basically it. So that's how you can draw the NMR spectrum of a molecule. So this is the answer for the first example. Now let's try another one. So let's say we have this molecule, CH3, next to a carbonyl group, attached to an oxygen, which is attached to a CH, and that's going to be attached to 2 methyl groups. So in this case, what we have here is an ester. So go ahead and make a table and draw the NMR spectrum for this particular molecule. So the first thing we're going to do is determine how many signals we get for this molecule. So this would appear as 1 signal, this would appear as 2, and then these 2 methyl groups are identical to each other. They exist in the same exact chemical environment. So they will show up as 1 signal, which we'll call signal C. So now let's make the table. So we're going to have proton A, B, and C. Now the next thing we need to talk about is the chemical shift. So here we have a methyl group adjacent to a carbonyl group. If you look at your textbook, the chemical shift is usually around 2.3. It could vary, but it's close to 2.3. Now, here we have a CH group next to an oxygen. If you have a CH2 or CH3 directly attached to an oxygen, the chemical shift is about 3 to 4. So we're going to say 3.5. Now, for signal C, all we have is a methyl group, but it's not too far away from the oxygen. There's only 1 carbon in its way. Most methyl groups would have a signal of 1, but because it's relatively close to the oxygen, we're going to say it's a little bit more downfield than 1. Let's say 1.4. It may not be the exact number, but we'll just use a number around 1 just for the sake of learning how to do this. Now let's talk about the splitting pattern. So how many adjacent protons are there for the methyl group? If we look at the carbon next to it, there are no hydrogen atoms attached to it. So there are no adjacent protons for this methyl group. So using the n+1 rule, it's going to be 0 + 1, which means this will appear as a singlet. Now let's move on to proton B. So let's see how many hydrogen atoms are on the adjacent carbon atoms. So we have a total of 6. Using the n+1 rule, it's going to be 6 + 1, which is 7. And that corresponds to a septet. And sometimes you can call it a multiplet. Now, for signal C, keep in mind these 2 are equivalent, so you just need to analyze one of them. Here is the adjacent carbon, and there's only 1 hydrogen atom on the adjacent carbon. So 1 + 1 is 2, thus we're going to get a doublet. So if you want to add, let's say, an extra column for the picture, this will be the singlet. The septet will look like this. So we have 7, and the doublet will look like this. Now the last thing we're going to talk about is the integration. And all you need to do is look at the number of protons that corresponds to each signal. So we have 3 protons that correspond to signal A, 1 proton that corresponds to signal B, and we have a total of 6 protons that corresponds to signal C. So what this tells us is that signal B is going to be the shortest signal for the most part, generally speaking. Signal C should be the tallest one. Signal A should be somewhere in the middle. So now we have enough information to basically draw the graph now. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see if I can fit it in here. So we only need to go up to 4. And let's start with our TMS signal at 0. Now we have a singlet at 2.3. And so this is going to be of medium height. And at 3.5 we have a septet. So this is going to be relatively short compared to the other signals. And then at 1.4 we have a doublet. So we're going to make this the tallest signal in the region. So this is going to be the signal corresponding to the 6 protons. This one is the signal corresponding to, actually, not that one, but the 3 protons. And this is the signal corresponding to proton B. And so that's basically it. So now you know how to draw the NMR spectrum of an organic molecule. Thanks for watching.